Welcome back, guys. Truckers Accountant here, and in this video we're going to talk about the top 7 ways to make money in trucking without your CDL. So none of these ways that I'm going to teach you involve you getting behind the steering wheel. You can do some of these from home, somewhere you need to be outside, but all these ways will give you a good entrance, a good way to get into trucking, get your feet wet, learn the market, learn the industry without making a big commitment and without having to get your CDL. As same as before, this video is brought to you guys by Audit Shield System. If you guys have an upcoming new entrant audit or any audit at all, feel free to reach out to us and we can help you take care of that audit, guaranteeing you a pass, especially on that new entrant audit. And without further ado, guys, I hope you guys enjoy the video and keep an eye out for number 5, 6, and 7. All those ways are not as known as the others, alright? So you can definitely make money with all these, and especially those last couple, there's a lot of potential in them because so few people know about it. Without further ado, let's get into the video. The first and probably the most known way of making money in trucking without having your CDL is freight dispatching. More independent freight dispatching, to be exact. So freight dispatchers find, plan, and book loads on behalf of the carriers. Their main goal is to keep the driver/carrier profitable and his wheels turning. You want to always keep them moving. This job can be done from home with a phone, laptop, and a load board subscription. That is all you need. I recommend training and mentorship, mainly because most people who start dispatching, they don't really know what they're doing. It is what it is. I've seen it. I've been in the industry for a really long time, and I've seen it. Bunch of dispatchers will start off and they don't know anything that they're doing. The best way to learn is obviously YouTube. Buy a course if you have to, learn whatever you can, and then get a mentor in freight dispatching. We highly productive, we have our own mentorship program, but I will be honest with you, it's very, very small. We only take on 4 mentees a month, and all our mentees that join the program already have prior dispatching knowledge. They've already taken a course somewhere else, or maybe they watched my course on YouTube, and they already know the basics. They just need help from being a student, from going from being a student to being an actual dispatcher. And we can teach you that gap, and we'll mentor you from not making money to making money in dispatching. And that's what we do. Our motto is all our mentees make money. So if you've paid for a course and you were let down by the course and you have the knowledge now but you don't know how to execute, how to make that happen, how to start making money, feel free to shoot me a message. But I will say, like I said before, we only take on 4 mentees a month, and the class of January 2024 already has 1, so you guys would have to reach out pretty soon. A dispatcher can earn over $60K a year if you're doing it right and if you know what you're doing. One truck can easily generate $7,000 a week, especially if it's like a reefer or something like that, or a flatbed. If you charge 5%, you get $350 that week from one truck. Multiply that $350 by 5, and you're making $1,750 a week from your computer. Only real expenses you have are load board subscriptions, and those usually don't total out to more than $250 a month. It's a very demanding and very dependent job, but you gotta understand, all the time that you put in is gonna benefit you in the long run, because you're gonna be learning your craft, building relationships with brokers, building your book of business, and that's just gonna help you all the way, because you're gonna separate yourself from the other guys, from the other dispatchers who aren't putting in the time, who don't really know what they're doing. And carriers will know. They can tell a good dispatcher from a bad dispatcher from a mile away. They'll know. So I highly recommend you get some training, whether it's a course or guys on YouTube, and you get some mentorship. The mentorship is pivotal because there's going to be a bunch of things that come up that you just don't know the answer to. For example, what is a lumper fee? Or how to request attention or request tonu. All this stuff is going to come up eventually, and if you don't have a mentor who you can just hit up and ask questions to, then you're going to be in a really tough spot, and it's highly unlikely that you're going to succeed as a dispatcher. So definitely look into getting a mentorship if you plan on going the freight dispatching route. Here is number 2, factoring companies. You can start your own factoring company. What is a factoring company? A factoring company is basically a financial institution or financial service that provides immediate cash advances to trucking companies by purchasing their invoices, and then they make money by taking a percentage off the invoice. So, for example, a trucker might finish a load today on Monday, but the load, he won't be getting paid for that load for 30 days. It's net 30 usually in the trucking industry. And because he isn't getting paid for 30 days, he's going to be strapped on cash. And that's not just that one load, that's every load. So the whole purpose of a factoring company is once the trucker finishes a load, he wants to get paid immediately after. Therefore, the factoring company is going to buy your invoice off of you, right? So he's going to he's going to pay you in advance and take 2% off, and that 2% is his profit, and he's just going to wait himself for that broker to pay him within those 30 days. That's how they make money. It's usually 2%, 3% that they charge per truck. That's a pretty good deal, especially if you have. This is a really good business to start if you have capital and if you're really good with money, like accountants or whatever. If you're good with money, it's a really good idea to start. I do recommend you getting really knowledgeable in trucking beforehand and knowing what brokers to work with, and purchasing the credit checking software and all that. It's very pivotal. That way you don't purchase an invoice from a broker who you know might not pay. Factoring companies can easily generate over 6 figures. There are plenty of at-home, family-oriented factoring companies. You need funding, proper paperwork, and a phone, and that's all you really need, and a computer. But after that, you're good to go. You can start your factoring company. So you can start factoring loads for owner-operators and just taking your percentage off the top. A trucker can easily earn $20K a month in revenue from loads that they completed. If you charge 2% on all of that, you're making $400 off of one truck a month. Now, multiply that by 20 trucks, because you can just scale this up. There's no reason why you're just literally buying invoices off guys. Like I said, this is a money thing. You're basically like a bank. You're buying the invoices. You can scale it up to 20, 30 trucks. And then you multiply that 400 by 20, multiply it by 30. The whole goal is to have hundreds of trucks under your factoring company. That way you're constantly getting money from loads. This is a very, very niche way to make money in trucking. A lot of people never even consider it. But there are small factoring companies out there who are making a ton of money, and they're working from home. I really do like this way of making money, and I'm going to be dropping an in-depth guide very soon on how to do this. Okay, I've taken courses on how to start your own factoring company. I've put in the money. I've put in the time to learn everything. Do I have my own? I will be honest, I do not. But I plan on getting even a person who does have their own and putting them in the video, and they're going to talk to you guys about it and all. So definitely consider factoring companies if you're good with numbers and if you have access to a lot of capital. Number 3. This is perhaps my favorite way of making money in trucking without your CDL. Maybe second favorite, because the next one is probably my favorite because it's what I currently do. But I also have my own I'm also a CTPA and have my own drug and alcohol consortium. What is a CTPA? A CTPA is a consortium / third-party administrator in trucking, and it's a service provider that assists employers, particularly smaller trucking companies, usually owner-ops, in meeting department DOT regulations and for drug and alcohol testing. So we basically administer, monitor, and implement drug and alcohol programs into companies so that they remain DOT compliant and FMCSA compliant. These entities, us consortiums, manage testing programs. We maintain the records, and we provide educational support to ensure compliance with DOT requirements in the transportation industry. So I have my compliance company, and within my compliance company, we have the consortium, the Highly Productive Drug and Alcohol Consortium. All CDL drivers need to be enrolled in a random drug testing program, which is why this is a cash cow. Trust me. Everyone with a CDL needs to be enrolled in a drug and alcohol program. And if they're not, they're running uncompliant and they're running illegally. You will be the one handling their testing. You will create your own consortium and make sure that the drivers enrolled in it are part of a random testing pool and that they randomly get selected to go get tested. I will be honest with you, starting this is difficult. Not the actual execution of it, but getting the knowledge is difficult. I myself had to pay, I believe it was almost 1,500 for to learn how to do this, and I've probably made that money back already. And I didn't. I learned pretty recently, like a couple months ago, and I've already made that money back. And I'm not even being honest with you guys. I'm not even pushing my consortium that much. So if I speak to an owner operator who I just know isn't on it, then I'll recommend, hey, just let me put you on our consortium, join our random testing pool, and he's good to go. But I'm not marketing this. I'm not cold calling for this. I'm not doing any of that. If I did, right now I have about 10 owner ops in my consortium. If I did, I'd easily be at 50, 60. And there's a lot more to it. It's not an easy thing to start, but once you do start, it's profitable. There's a lot more to it, and I'll be creating a little in-depth guide on what a consortium is, give you the basic rundown on it. This is one of the most hidden ways. I think I said number 5 was, but this is probably the most hidden way to make money in trucking, and it's one of the most profitable ways as well. Almost nobody is gonna tell you that they own a drug and alcohol consortium, which is why when I tell people, they're surprised, because there's not that many out there. There's not that many consortiums out there. There's not that many people in that CTPA drug and alcohol consortium role, which is why we can charge what we charge. I personally charge $350 to enroll in my consortium for the entire year. After that, it's simply about growing to becoming the biggest consortium possible. Like I mentioned before, I don't market, I don't advertise my consortium at all. It's kind of more of on a refer, like, need to know basis. If you know about it, you know about it. If not, not. But I do plan on growing it and really pushing it in 2024. And by the end of 2024, I plan on reaching 300, maybe 400 carriers or owner ops in my consortium. There will be an in-depth guide dropping real soon. Please stay tuned for that, because trust me, there is a lot of money to be made in the drug and alcohol game within trucking. A lot. This isn't the only way to make money with having your own consortium. There's a bunch of ways, and you're going to want to hear about it. Another way to make money in trucking without having your CDL is becoming a freight broker, or an independent freight broker to be exact. So you file your company, you get your licenses, you get your bond, you do everything, and then you become a freight broker. What is a freight broker? An independent freight broker is an individual or company that operates as an intermediary in the transportation industry, connecting shippers with carriers to facilitate the movement of the goods. They work independently of specific carriers and shippers, negotiating rates, coordinating shipments, and ensuring smooth logistical operations. So you're basically, your main clientele as a broker is the shipper. People wanting to move their product. So you find your clientele, you lock them under a contract, and then you have access to those loads. Once you have access to those loads, you basically sell it to carriers with taking your percentage or your profit off the top. So if you lock in a contract for a load paying $5,000, right? The shipper is paying you $5,000. You're gonna take 1,000 of that, maybe. I'm not saying you should take 1,000. Give as much to the carrier as possible, but just for simplicity's sake, you're gonna take 1,000 of that, and you're gonna give the 4,000 to the carrier, and that's it right there. That's the whole broker industry right there. Very simplified, very dumbed down, but and for everyone to get a grasp of it, that is for the most part the broker industry. You get the load under the contract, and you give it to you facilitate the carrier. You find a carrier, give it to them, take your portion off the top. Carrier completes the load, you pay him. That's it. Freight brokering is a very good industry. I know people who made a lot of money as independent freight brokers. They started off in their house, and now they have offices. So definitely a lot of money to be made in it, but you have to be willing to sell. As a broker, you are a salesman because you need to grind in order to get your clients. Once you get that lane under contract, you can sell the load to carriers and take a piece off the top. That's the game right there. That's no BS. That's the game. All these brokers are going to tell you different. They're going to try to overcomplicate it. All these courses are going to try to overcomplicate it. That's it right there. Now, is it easy to make happen? No. I'll tell you that. It's not easy to make it happen, but if you got the grind and if you're willing to build that book of business, then you'll be good as a freight broker. Freight broker can easily make 60K plus a year if they're growing their book of business at a decent rate. So one year throughout the entire year, you might get two shippers. You might get two shippers, and you'll have to work with the contracts they give you. Next year, you might get four, and now you've got six total shippers, and you're getting a piece off of every load you facilitate. Right? The more loads you can get and sell to carriers, you're going to get a piece of everything. So imagine you have hundreds of loads going on at what time, and they're all getting booked up by carriers because you're paying a decent rate. Yeah, you might not be taking as much profit as you can, but you're getting these loads move fast, and you're building that book of business. There are also brokers who, like the example I said, you're giving 5,000, they might take 2.5 to 3 and give the carrier 2. I'm not saying to do that. I'm not saying it's ethical. It's definitely a shit thing to do, but business is business, and you got to make your money somehow. So I'm not gonna get mad at a guy for trying to eat. He's hustling his own way. But I do recommend, if you are a freight broker, that you look out for the little guy, look out for the carrier, and try to take only a reasonable amount. And at the end of the day, that carrier is the one doing the driving. So, but let's not even get political here. There will be an in-depth guide dropping really soon on freight brokerages as well. So if you guys are interested in being a freight broker, a lot of money to be made, a lot of free videos on YouTube that I highly recommend. Watch those videos and just soak in as much knowledge as you can. This is probably my favorite one. Of course, I'm a bit biased because it's what I do for a living. It's what my whole business, Highly Productive Logistics LLC, is. Sorry, I probably made the mic move, but that's what the whole business is. That's what the whole business does. We're compliance, a trucking compliance business, safety manager. We do everything. And the Audit Shield System, we built that for compliance. So I'm a little bit biased, I won't lie, but there's a lot of money to be made in this as well. What is a compliance expert? A compliance expert in trucking is an individual with specialized knowledge and expertise in ensuring that a trucking company adheres to all relevant laws, regulations, and industry standards. Their role involves staying current with changing regulations, implementing and monitoring compliance systems, and advising the company on best practices to maintain legal and operational safety. You're basically a consultant. Think of it as a safety consultant, right? So you're telling them, hey, you've got this audit coming up. Hey, you need to be enrolled in the Drug and Alcohol Consortium. Let me do that for you. You're doing all that. My company has grown from, like I said, we started off dispatching, then I started doing audits. Now we have the Audit Shield System, and we have our own Drug and Alcohol Consortium under our compliance company. So we've grown it to a decently good size, and we're pretty well known in the trucking industry. Okay, especially my name. You ask a bunch of people my name in trucking, and we've done good business with a bunch of truckers and a bunch of brokers, and even DOT officers during audits. We have a good reputation, and a good reputation means more customers, and more customers means more money. As a compliance expert, you can handle a bunch of things, like if the taxes, consortiums, and audits, and you do a set price for all that. Okay, so you might charge $125 for IFTA, you might charge $400 for an audit, or you might create bundles and charge $1,200 for everything. All reasonable, all very reasonable. Like the Audit Shield System, we completely create your compliance foundation within your company for new owner operators, and we're guaranteeing you a pass on that new entrant audit when that audit does come. For that, we're charging a decent amount, but not only are we completing and guaranteeing your compliance system is in order and guaranteeing you a pass on your new entrant audit, but we're also giving you access to our portal, our Audit Shield portal, where you can store all your files and keep them in there. That way, if you get investigated or anything, you have access to everything at a click away. We're also teaching your company how to maintain and upkeep everything that we've implemented into your company. That way you won't ever need us. And then we're on call for a whole month after that. So we have a really good deal, and we're offering up a lot for a really low price if you think about everything. Like even just us teaching you how to do your compliance, That alone, it should be running people like $2,000. You can easily make 50K a year if you're working on growing your clientele and always learning new skills and adding to your business. Like I said, I was doing compliance first, and I was doing dispatching, then compliance. Then I added that consortium under my compliance company. So at first I wasn't making money from the drug and alcohol consortium. It was just the compliance. Now I added a whole new stream of revenue. $350 for every owner operator a year that signs up. This is what I do. This is what I know best right now, and this is how I make my money. I think last month, I'm not saying we're getting rich off it, but last month we made $5,000. It's not weird it's not out of the ordinary for us to make $5,000 a month off just this. Not even including the drug and alcohol consortium. If you include the drug and alcohol consortium, it's probably like another 2, maybe 7. Two plus the 5 being the 7. No BS. I think I showed. I can show you guys Square payments. I can show you all that, but no BS at all. I think maybe last 30 days total, we probably got like $3,000-4,000. But irrelevant. I just trying to show you guys no cap in my rap. Like, this is what I do. Compliance expert. I'm a safety manager. I'm a consultant basically, and I help companies build their compliance foundation. That way they don't get attacked by the DOT. We defend them. Our motto is wear your shield against the FMCSA. So let us be your shield. And if you want to learn about compliance, I got a really good in-depth course or guide dropping real soon. This is the next video that's going to be uploaded, is this guide. The next way to make money in trucking without having your CDL is equipment washing. I know it doesn't sound as glamorous as staying home staying home in your room and booking loads, but money's money, and there's a lot of money to be made in this. A semi-truck washing business specializes in providing clean services for large commercial trucks. These services usually include exterior washing, trailer cleaning, and cab detailing. By offering these convenient solutions, the business helps trucking companies maintain the appearance of their fleet and promote road safety and compliance industry standards. So not only do a bunch of brokers require that your trailer is clean, especially if you're in the reefer game, but an owner, like an investor, someone who owns trucks but doesn't drive them, wants their stuff to look pretty. There's no way around it, right? You always want your car to be as nice as possible. So you can charge $100 or more. I've seen people charge more for both truck and trailer washes, and if you get 7 trucks a day, which isn't that much, you're making $700 a day, right? That's good money. Con is that this one can't be done from home and requires more supplies and more expenses, the water, the soap, all that. But this could potentially put you at 6 figures if you do it right, if you advertise, if you find a good location, and if you're nice with it, right? Because you can even lock down contracts with USPS or even other trucking companies. You solely clean their trucks. Once a week, you pull up to their garage or to their parking lot, and you just clean all their trucks for whatever rate you decide. This is a very small population of people that do this. It's a very niche market, and honestly, if you go in knowing how to make the money, knowing what you're going to do, and you execute on your business plan, there's a lot of money for you to make. No way around it. The next way to make money in trucking is as an investor. An investor in the trucking industry purchases a semi-truck as a capital asset with the intention of leasing it to a qualified driver or just hiring a qualified driver. This arrangement allows the investor to generate income through lease payments while providing the driver the opportunity to operate a well-maintained and reliable vehicle. Right? So you don't have to do that whole lease on thing. I don't know why the definition says that, but you can literally just buy a truck and put a driver in it. Right? And then he drives, you pay him well, and then you keep the profit off the top as a business owner, as the business itself. You buy the truck, hire a dispatcher, hire a compliance manager, and hire a driver. After all expenses are paid, you keep the profit. You're basically creating your own trucking company. Not even basically, you're literally creating your own trucking company. You can easily make $1,000 a week after expenses if your dispatcher and driver are good. Okay, it's very pivotal that you get a good dispatcher and a good driver, because those two things are worth more than gold. You get a driver that's willing to drive anywhere, and you get a dispatcher who knows how to book loads and has relationships with a bunch of brokers, then you're gonna make money, and a lot of it. I'm also gonna be dropping an in-depth guide on this one as well. So if you're thinking about becoming a trucking investor, getting in the industry, buying a truck and finding yourself a driver, watch that video when it does come out. The final way to make money in trucking without having your CDL is a truck driver recruiting agency. As a truck driver recruiter, you work for all the other businesses that I just mentioned beforehand. Your job is to help fleet owners, dispatchers, compliance experts, and factoring companies and consortiums find their customers, and then you get paid once you do. If you don't believe this sounds like this is an actual business and a business plan, a single good customer for these guys will make them a lot of money. Guaranteed. Like I've told you how much they're making off these guys. You can charge anywhere from $300 to $500 per driver just for you connecting the driver with the business that they need. And you charge the business, not the driver. A lot of money to be made in this. If you're in any of the other businesses I just mentioned, and you're probably in Facebook groups, then you would know that everyone needs more drivers, more clientele. These guys, their main customers are drivers. So if you can connect the drivers to wherever they need to be, you're gonna take a portion of the money that gets moved around there. No way around it. And I believe that is the last of the 7 ways to make money in trucking without your CDL. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys learned about new ways to make money in trucking without having your CDL. Yeah, you can always get your CDL and go over the road, but if that lifestyle isn't for you, you can still get into trucking, learn the industry, and get a piece of this billion-dollar industry. It might even be a trillion-dollar industry already. Get a piece of it. Just take a small piece of the pie. All right. All these ways can be done. I'll be giving more in-depth guides on all these ways, or most of them. And if you're interested in mentorship or making something happen, we can mentor you. We can teach you how to make it happen. And like I said before, all my mentees make money. So if you are interested in any other ways mentioned, shoot me an email. I'll put my email in the description, and we can talk further about getting you started and creating your own business and making you some money. With all that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a good one. The next video will be a guide on compliance, so keep an eye out for that. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one.